Mhm. Thank you very much, Juan, for your insights. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over the floor to you.
Thank you very much, Ariana. I am so pleased and honored to be your keynote speaker closing the Operational Excellence and Process Transformation Summit. As you know, my name is Juan Gomez Hoyos, and the last 3 days we have been full. We're receiving full, relevant, and insightful content with outstanding experts, speakers, and we have listened and learned from case studies after case study, best practices, and their hard-earned experience, which is, I believe, one of the best parts of the whole conference. So I have enjoyed it so much, except for this morning, I couldn't stay, but I feel that I have grown professionally during these 3 days. I started to connect with some of you, and I also invite some of you to connect with me through LinkedIn. So if you feel the same, can you show some of the love in the chat and put some heart emoji, thumbs up, show the love to the presenters. It takes a lot of their time and effort to prepare for those speeches. I don't see anybody. I see one. Okay. Please do so. This is supposed to be an engaging session, and we have to be part of that. So thank you, everyone, for your effort, and all of the panelists, all of the presenters. Thank you for being here. I love that wink face in there. For those of you in the audience that were not present during day one, I'm a speaker, a trainer, and author in the space of operational excellence, continuous improvement. I am an avid student of everything related to Industry 4.0 and its application to the practice of operational excellence. And I often speak on these subjects in different forums, such as this one. I have over 25 years of experience in 6 industries, and I have worked with many global organizations as shown in the logos below. During the last 16 years, I had the opportunity to lead 4 successful operational excellence transformations, and with verified impact of over $11 million and 150,000 hours of improvement process efficiencies. I invite you to connect with me. Just take your smart device, scan the QR code, or visit the address shown on the screen. And at the end, you're going to have another opportunity to do so. Please connect with me. I love the conversation. If you have questions, more than welcome. And I'm also very willing to share some of the resources with you. So as a closing speech for today, I want to share what I believe will be required to build the digital workforce for the future, especially in the operational excellence field. And how many of you have heard about Industry 4.0? Show of hands, or put your in the chat, say yes. And if it's no, you can say no. Let me see. I see one up. Yes, yes. No, okay, Stephen, no worries. You're gonna get some of that today. Okay, Industry 4.1. 4.0, I'm sorry, maybe 4.1 is coming around the corner. You never know. So we have some mixed bag of yes and no's. So you are for a 3, because if your answer was no, don't feel bad. You're not alone. The great majority, I would say, of operational excellence professionals around the world has not yet taking the time to learn more about Industry 4.0 technology. Let me give you an opportunity to better understand what is coming ahead and why it is relevant to the success of the next generation of CI and operational professionals, especially in the skill set part. So we are going to summarize the industrial revolution throughout history. The steam revolution in the 1700s, the electricity revolution during the 1800s, and the computing revolution during the 1900s. One characteristic remained the same, with each new wave of technological advancement, a gigantic seismic skill gap was created in the workforce. Each industrial revolution left behind all ways of working, all technology. It was replaced with new ways of working and new technology. Entire professions were replaced by entirely new ones. Imagine this: horse and carriage drivers were substituted by train conductors or automobile drivers. Professional telegraph operators, remember the Morse code, became completely replaced by telephone switchboard operators, to ultimately be replaced later on by computerized switchboards. Accountants and bookkeepers using pen and paper had to learn how to use a mechanical calculator until the electronic calculators came along. And then the computer came along with the spreadsheet software. So now, today, anyone can file their taxes using a smart cloud-based application that uses artificial intelligence and expert systems to advise you on how to save money on your taxes. What about that? With each new way of advancement, a second fact remained. In addition to the abysmal skill gap, companies that resisted the change became obsolete. Early adopters made massive fortunes. And professionals that could not keep up with the new demands of the job market were left behind and replaced. So let's sit on that for a second. How do we feel in our role of operational excellence professionals about Industry 4.0? Well, let's move on to see how deep this goes. According to the last studies from McKinsey and Company, the failure rates of digital transformations are staggering. We're talking about in the realm of 70% or even higher. And I think 70% failure rate is a big number. I don't know you, but 70% failure rate, I will be out of my job if I go to my boss and say, hey, we're 30% success. And what that means is 70% failure. So even with only 30% of the people that were assessed by McKinsey reported their digital transformations were a success, about half of those, 16% of them, said that their organization's digital transformation not only succeeded, but also they were equipped to maintain the changes in the long term. So in summary, only 16% of the 30% that were successful succeeded to meet their digital transformation goals in a way that their organizations can sustain the changes in the long run. In short, 16% will be able to sustain the gains. To me, that seems like 84% failure rate. You take 100% minus 16% is 84% failure rate. So even that is a bleaker picture of what's coming ahead. Another statistic that I found very interesting from that same study from McKinsey is that according to their poll, organizations that are small with 100 employees or less are 2.7 times more likely to report a digital transformation that is successful than an organization that is big. And by big, we say 50,000 employees or more. Interesting, right? You would believe that the opposite should be true, that the bigger the organization, the greater number of resources and budgets. But maybe it is not much about resources, but about complexity and change management, or a lesser scope of work, maybe. I think it begs the question why only 16% of these respondents suggested or it succeeded to meet their digital transformation journey goals in a way that they can actually sustain them. In that same research, McKinsey and Company distilled from the leader companies that were successful 5 success factors they observed that successfully, pose for success digital transformations. Number one, the right digital savvy leaders in place. Number two, building capabilities for the workforce of the future. Number three, empowering people to work in new ways. Number four, giving day-to-day tools a digital upgrade. Number five, communicating frequently via traditional and digital methods. Let's drill down, because I love the details behind this, and I think that you will love them too. I want to explore how these 5 success factors that McKinsey and company found relate to the talent gap that I mentioned before. Number one, the right digital savvy leaders in place for me, I would say, this translates in leadership with a digital first visionary mindset. Digital first visionary mindset. Allow me to expand. For a successful digital transformation to happen, you can actually digitally transform an analog process. So there are 3 terms that I want to fully explain because they sound similar, but they are not the same. First of all is digitization. Digitization is the process of changing data from an analog form to a digital form without any different in other changes in the process, without changing the process, just the nature of the data itself. In this example, we have an analog sphygmomanometer. That's the device that your doctor uses or your nurse uses to check your blood pressure, to a digital sphygmomanometer, which I have one, by the way. That's digitization, the first step. Then after that, you have to digitalize. Digitalization is the use of digital technologies and digitized data to impact how the work gets done. And then you transform the process and you transform how customers and companies engage and interact and create new value, I would say revenue, etc. So value for the customer. In this example, you see here, the digital sphygmomanometer now is tied to a mobile app. And now the mobile app not only serves as a digital logbook, but also you can glean from it analytics, and using machine learning software, it can derive insights and trending and calculate unusual patterns in the results and alert the patient about them. Actually, I do have one of those apps. And that app on a daily basis tells me, hey, your average blood pressure is getting better than last week or the last 2 weeks. Oh, the other day it told me that on Wednesday, my blood pressure is higher than normal. I need to do some root cause about what's going on Wednesdays. Then the third part is digital transformation. So we got digitization, digitalization, and third, digital transformation. The digital transformation is the profound and accelerating transformation of business activities, processes, and competencies, and models to fully leverage the changes and opportunities brought by digital technologies. The key words here are profound and accelerating. Profound and accelerating. So if we are going to show an example of digital transformation, it will look like something like this. In the example, we see that we could redesign the whole value stream via the digital transformation methodology process, and we would not only capture the data in the app, but now when alarming patterns in the data are detected, it could automatically transmit that data into an alert digitally to the cloud, to the patient's electronic medical record in a secure way, and later alerting the patient's primary care doctor for which the patient is being taken care of. And that piece, that primary care doctor could be prompt to schedule a follow-up visit with that patient or a follow-up appointment for the patient to see the doctor. So they can review their treatment and reevaluate their medication. You see, this is what we mean by a profound and accelerating transformation. You need leaders that can understand enough about the potential of these technologies and are able to see the visionary possibilities of bringing profound value to their customers. Unfortunately, as you know, many times we see leaders that see in process automation and technology-driven solutions as the silver bullet, a remedy, a patch for their wasteful and broken processes. My advice, never ever automate a wasteful process. Instead, adhere to what I call a disciplined automation approach. And it consists of 5 steps. First step is to eliminate. Make a stop making list. Insource or outsource those processes or steps that no longer belong to the organization. You know that. How many times we do things because there were legacy tasks that we used to do in the past, but now the volumes or the market doesn't make any sense to do it anymore. Eliminate. Then simplify, making the remainder processes simpler. Then standardize. Standardize, document, and train the people. Fourth, optimize. Do value stream mapping, pocket jokes, SMED, daily Kaizen events, but make sure that you smooth the flow of that process, you optimize it, it gets to almost maximum capacity. And finally, you automate. Digitization, and then digital transformation. So where are we going to find those digital savvy leaders? Well, if you can find them, then you may need to train them, upskill them, reskill them. And that's tied to the second success factor, building capabilities for the workforce of the future, and that includes the leader. So no longer we have to create a new generation of tech-savvy leaders, but we also need to form a new generation of tech-savvy CI and operational excellence practitioners. And I coined this term, I don't know if you have heard it before, but I coined this term next-gen CI, next generation CI. And why we need a whole new generation of CI skills, it's very simple. The processes that we are meant to improve are changing. We are here to improve processes, but if the nature of the processes is changing to the digital world, then we have to change alongside with it. Processes are becoming phygital. Yes, you heard it right. Phygital. Phygital is the application of technology to bridge the digital world with the physical world, to provide a unique interactive experience for the user. And the reason why legacy CI is becoming less and less applicable, especially in digital transformations, and I believe that's one of my thesis, that that's one of the major reasons why digital transformations are failing, because operational excellence people are not involved in those that much. So let's see the individual realities of the legacy CI that we used to learn and got certified on in the people, process, and systems. And I personally, as a clarifying point, I prefer the word system instead of technology, and I'll tell you why. Because technology usually is, the mind goes to applications and machines. But the word systems include the interaction of one or more processes that work together for a common goal. And that's a system, 2 or more processes that work together for a common goal. That also includes the technology used within that. So I'd rather use the word system. So in the people area, legacy CI lack of digitally skilled CI workforce. And the process knowledge reside at a very limited geographical silo or functional silo. In the process area, most processes are physical, manual, and people-driven. At least there were back in last century. And processes were visible to local teams only. Try to do a Gemba walk in a process that exists across the ocean. It's difficult. In the process area, process data used to be and still is fragmented on-premise silos. Organizations' engines are run with fragile, outdated technology, and systems are standalone solutions not connected with other processes and systems across the enterprise. But the next generation CI, the reality is that Industry 4.0 wave of change demands a totally different reality. In the people area, we now are required to have a digitally savvy workforce that can leverage technology to take care of globally distributed processes and a globally distributed workforce. In the process area, processes are becoming more and more digitized and digitalized and digitally transformed. Those processes are becoming unseen to the naked eye. They are becoming phygital, as I mentioned before. In the systems area, integrated systems are now replacing those standalone systems, and they are now supporting more end-to-end processes, 100% digitally. In cloud computing, technology is providing an unparalleled opportunity to have a global view of the data never seen before. In another study, this time with a Hackett group, the top skills that were found to drive digital transformation success were identified by industry leaders. And the consensus was that smart automation savviness was needed with an 86% consensus among those leaders. Then followed by agility and change management skills with 63% consensus. Then followed by relationship management and strategic mindset, 58% and 50% respectively. Creativity and innovation with 48%. And finally, business acumen with 33%. Let's pause on this. Business acumen, 33%. As you can see, having business knowledge alone, which business acumen is all about, is not enough for success. That only accounts for 33% of the consensus of the leaders. In other words, what got you here won't get you there. In summary, we have to break this down a little bit more into its components. So if we have to summarize this slide, I would say that the next generation CI practitioners must go beyond legacy Lean and Six Sigma. They must be tech savvy. They must have change management and project management skills. They must have agile and innovative mindsets. They need to have strategic and business acumen. And they also have to have excellent people skills. That's it. That's the bill we have to meet. That same study from the Hackett group asked HR executive what are the best ways to build those skills. And this is what they answered. On-the-job learning was the preferred method, followed by online web-based training, followed by mentoring and coaching, blended learning, which means a mix of synchronous and asynchronous modalities of teaching. And finally, stretch assignments was the fifth method ranked. In other words, experiential learning using real-life problems and projects, upskilling and reskilling in new disciplines beyond basic CI, leveraging technology for asynchronous learning, and integrated coaching and mentoring in the learning process. You may be thinking by now, Juan, where do we begin? This is a lot. I didn't know what I didn't know, but now I know what I don't know. Okay, let me help you with that. I would recommend to start somewhere. And always in any continuous improvement process, you need to know your current state. So this book that I show you here, which I have here, is an excellent start. It's called, the title of the book is The Hamster Revolution for Tech Quotient: How to Thrive in the Post-COVID Virtual World of Work by Mike Sun. Actually, I had a conversation with Mike, and the author proposed a model of 4 basic quadrants of assessing tech skills in an organization, and the ability to coach others in those skills. So it's tech skills and ability to coach. And with that, those 2 axes, you have these 4 quadrants: the emerging techie, the calm coach, the silo star, and the techspert. He offers an assessment tool that you can use to understand your current state as a person and as an organization, so you can calculate your average score for the organization. And that average score is shown here in A. Right here. That's the average scores, and those are the individual dots for the people in that organization. So once you understand the baseline, then you work on a training and development plan to increase the average test quotient of your organization. Then using the same assessment later to measure any progress or improvements. It's a good start. I'm not saying it's a perfect start, but it's a place to begin with. Based on my personal experience now, for 16 years leading 4 different operational excellence transformations, in which I had under my care a global team in 4 different regions of the world, we integrated not only the operational excellence team with CI skills, Lean and Six Sigma people, but also we integrate talent from automation expertise, software development expertise, and data and analytics expertise. And I realized the extraordinary synergy that created between the OPEX skill set and this complementary skills. The following are the components of what I believe. This is my personal bet. I bet on this, that the operational excellence skill matrix of the future is composed of these 7 skills. Number 1, digitally aware Lean Six Sigma. We're gonna go into more details. Number 2, project and change and communication management. You need all 3. Usually as part of change management, you have communication management, but you need to be good in all 3. Number 3, data analytics and insights. Not just creating charts for the sake of creating charts, but what is the story behind that chart? Number 4, process knowledge, operations and business acumen. We have to have that. Number 5, fundamental software skills. Number 6, advanced software skills. And number 7, Industry 4.0 technologies awareness. Let's dive into it. If we break them down, those 7 elements, into its subcomponents, skills, I would say that we can construct this operational excellence skill matrix structure of the future. And this is just 2 levels down. You can go deeper than that. Actually, I have an example for you. If you connect with me on LinkedIn, I can send you a template on free of charge, a template on Excel spreadsheet, which has other ideas in a level 3 skills matrix. So number 1, digitally aware Lean Six Sigma. What that means? We all know about the 8 types of waste in Lean, downtime, all the different acronyms that we use. But we can also we need to have a better visibility of the waste hidden in the process due to manually driven process steps full of analog data that needs to be entry and re-entry in different systems. How can we re-engineer the Lean Six Sigma toolset to become digitally aware of that waste? Should we reinvent value stream mapping? Should we reinvent Sidebox? How can we learn to leverage technology to execute training and Kaizen events more efficiently with less travel and time and cost? Number 2, project change and communication management. We have to have formal project management training experience, but also change management and communication, stakeholder management skills that could be learned and also applied. Number 3, data analytics and insights. Data science and analytics, data visualization skills, how to speak stories with data, how to tell a good story that will be convincing, and how to find insights in the data. Learning how to automate reports. Not, creating a report is not necessarily value-added activity, I would say, but the actions from the report are the value-added activity. So how can we tell those stories with the least amount of effort? How can we automate most of those reports? Process knowledge, number 4, both in operations, manufacturing, and also business processes. I worked with a finance organizations for 3 years, working on a global operational excellence transformation. It is important, believe me, there's a lot of opportunities in the business side. So business acumen is necessary to become better advisors of process improvement solutions. When we operational excellence professionals know the process and know what's going on, and we have spent time with the experts understanding the flow of the process, not only gives you a better perspective on how to improve the process, but also will give you a lot of credibility. So I propose that operational excellence practitioners get assigned to a particular organization or process for a time, so they can develop that higher level of insight and process level understanding, let alone the relationships that you create in that particular side of the business. Number 5, fundamental software skills. There are fundamental software skills that you must have. Modern professionals cannot go away from Office 365, I would say. As an example, how many people around us are scared to death to Excel or PowerPoint? That's a problem. Number 6, advanced software skills. There are also advanced software tools that we can use to leverage further, I would say, and accelerate process improvement to increase process efficiencies. I personally have used a lot of software tools. Industry 4.0 technologies. Last but not least, this is important because this is what's coming. You don't want to be the horse carriage driver of the 21st century. You don't want to be left behind. What are those technologies? This is just flashing at it. I know it's an eye chart, but there are top 25 Industry 4.0 technologies grouped in 6 different categories and groups. We don't have time to get into all the details, but manufacturing optimization, transportation optimization, enhanced computing, visualization of information, and health, advanced health, resource conservation, and material science. I know this is a teaser slide. We can have more information if you want it more. The third success factor is empowering people to work in new ways by adopting an agile mindset, falling fast, failing forward, and failing better. We had great speakers today talking about that mentality, and that is the adoption of agile, Scrum methodologies, design thinking, even TRIS, which is not very much heard of, but those are very useful methodologies for empowering people to work in new ways. The fourth success factor is giving day-to-day tools a digital upgrade And in this example, I mentioned before when I integrated the operational excellence team with people with different skill sets. And that gave us an upgraded menu of services beyond legacy CI. And we'll see that. This is the resultant menu of services that we provided after we did the integration. Notice the growth of services from 5 legacy CI services to 11. That's 120% increase in service capability, just because we integrated those skills into the team. The fifth and last success factor, communicating frequently via traditional and digital methods. And what this means is that we need to optimize the way we use the existing tools that we have. Sometimes we don't even know the tools that we have in our operations or in our organization. Creating management standard work is so important, but also visual management systems to communicate progress towards the journey. It's crucial. And this is an eye chart. This is just a glimpse of many of the Microsoft tools that can help you to communicate better by leveraging that technology, and the pros and cons depending on what is it that you want to achieve. And the basis of a robust management standard work definitely are the tiered meetings structure. I propose a 5-level tier meeting structure, not just a 3-layer as many people teach. Definitely because layer 4, which is a monthly operation review at the plan level, leadership, and the tier 5, which is could be a quarterly or semi-annually or an annual all hands employee meeting, because employee wants to know how the business is doing. So it's important that we have all 5 levels. And this is an example, and some of you were asking the other day about an operational excellence dashboard example. Well, this is a real example. Of course, I took out all the sensitive information, but this is an operational excellence dashboard that we created, and we started dirt and ship with PowerPoint, and we created the concept. We paraded the concept across all the globe. We gather all the feedback from the customers of this intended operational excellence dashboard, and we tweak it and we change it until we have what they wanted. And then we started putting on code in Power BI. The one on below is actually an operations visual management system, also created in-house using existing tools like SharePoint and SQL servers and a mobile flat screen on wheels platform. And that was also all done in-house, well documented, so it could be sustained in the future. So as an example, it's possible. You don't have to hire the big shot consultancy firms. You can do it yourself. You can start dirt and ship. At least you can start the journey yourself. So here are the 7 skill disciplines for next generation CI and the components of the operational excellence skill metrics of the future. Number 1, digitally aware Lean Six Sigma. Number 2, project change and communication management. Number 3, data analytics and insights. Number 4, project knowledge and operations in the business. Number 5, fundamental software skills. Number 6, advanced software skills. And number 7, industry 4.0 technologies. And now I am open for Q&A. And if you are interested in receiving the notes of today's presentation, along with some of the resources that I mentioned, connect with me, send me a message, and I'll gladly respond back to you. Back to you, Ariana.
Thank you very much, Juan. Yes, it has been quite a long day today, so I think everyone needs to digest a little. I don't see any questions coming.